This podcast is brought to you by Allsbrook Accounting. Allsbrook Accounting is Rochester's entrepreneurial financial service provider. Their local team provides experienced accounting, bookkeeping, tax prep, and advising at extremely affordable rates to help entrepreneurs and businesses of all sizes launch smart and grow fast. Contact Allsbrook Accounting today at 931-841-4937 or visit them at allsbrookaccounting.com for a free consultation to get your business off the ground and on track for growth. That's ALSBROOK accounting.com. I'm Amanda Leitner, and welcome to Rochester Rising, where we amplify the stories of Rochester entrepreneurs. Welcome to episode 146 on the podcast today. So today I got a chance to sit down with our neighbor here right across Broadway, Kayla Fjelsted. Kayla is the owner and founder of Swoon Lash and Beauty Lounge. They just opened up on Broadway in mid-June. Kayla is a Rochester native, and Swoon Lash and Beauty Lounge is a beauty salon that specializes in eyelash extensions and eyebrow tinting and waxing. So today on the podcast, we chat with Kayla about this new to Rochester business, how she started the business originally out of her basement, what marketing tools she found useful to spread the word about her business here in Rochester. We chat about how she chose the space and opened the space here in Rochester in mid-June and her passion for bringing this business to the community where she grew up. We chat about how her family really helped her to get that space ready to open up here this past summer. We talk about the relationship she gets to make with her clients and her passion to do something different in her life and proving that you don't have to have a bachelor's degree to be successful. And lastly, we wrap up the conversation by talking about the value of taking time to figure out what you love doing in life. All right, so sit back and enjoy this podcast with Kayla Fjelsted, owner and founder of Swoon Lash and Beauty Lounge. All right, so we're here today with Kayla Fjelsted, the owner and founder of Swoon Beauty Lounge. So thanks for being here today.
Yes, I'm happy to be here.
It's nice to have a close neighbor right across the street.
I know, I didn't even
Broadway
realize
here.
we were so close. It's perfect.
Yeah, I was just walking down Broadway one day and saw your logo and sign in the door. And I'm like, had to find out more about this.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So yeah, I always like to start out asking business owners, people who come in, what problem did you see in the community just in general that caused you to want to start your business?
To start this one. So I own one up in Edina, up in the cities. And so being from Rochester, I knew a lot of girls down here. My brother has a lot of girlfriends. My sister has a lot of girlfriends. And there was not a place that specialized in just eyelash extension. So, in the cities, they're, everywhere, on every corner, where there's nothing for that in Rochester. And so I was noticing that my clients were traveling every 2 weeks to come up to me. It's an hour and a half each way, and eventually got to the point where I had like over 20 clients that were driving every 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Like, there's got to be a better way for this. So it had always been my dream to open one up in Rochester where I grew up. And so then I was like, you know what, it's time. I have 20 clients right here just waiting to get in and, make it more accessible and easy for them to get their routinely fills. And so yeah, that's kind of why I decided.
Yeah, it's nice when you already have a customer base, so it's not like so huge of a leap.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and like knowing the community, and yeah, it's really great. It was always my dream to expand down here, but not quite this soon. And then when I realized, how many people, I was like, this is the time, because Rochester doesn't have a lash place yet.
Definitely not. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about Swoon? So what kind of services you provide there?
Yeah. So we're a beauty salon that specializes in eyelash extensions. So we're not like your typical hair salon. We strictly do eyelash extensions, and we do, one of my employees does eyebrow tinting and then waxing. So our main thing is eyelash extensions. We really try to specialize in that, and that's what I think was needed in the community too. So yeah, that's what we focus on.
So your one in Edina has been open for longer than the one in Rochester, right?
Yep. So it's about a year and a half. And that one, I actually started out of my basement.
Okay.
And so I started my little side hustle out of the basement. And so that's kind of the same thing. It got to be to the point where it was like, I have so many people coming in and out of my house every day, where it was like, it's time. It was like time to take the leap. And then all the laws changed. Now it's required even like to have your house as a salon or to be in a licensed salon in order to even do the eyelashes, which makes sense. So it was like that friendly little nudge I needed to like get out and like start something. And so same kind of thing. Like I just realized like, all right, it's time. So that one is like a salon suite. So it's just a little room. It's just me in there. And then I jumped to a bigger space down here.
Awesome. And this one's been open since midsummer?
Yep, mid-June. Yeah.
Mid-June, okay.
Yep. We started pretty slow, and then we, all of a sudden, like the second week, we were like, oh my gosh, like, this can actually, be something. And, it helps being from here and knowing people around here, and people are talking, and we don't do any sort of like paid advertising by anybody. And that's a personal choice of mine. And I've been offered it, but personally, like, it's all about word of mouth for me. And I like truly want to know everybody that comes in the door. So it's cool to be like, oh, how'd you hear about me? Oh, through this person or on Instagram. So Instagram's been a big advertisement too. So started slow for about the first week, and then it kind of took off.
No, that's awesome. And like we were talking before we started, it's so hard to know when you make the decision, okay, you go from your basement to, your first location, which is a huge step, and then opening up a second one within basically a year.
Yeah,
right.
Right. It's
That's
crazy.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It was not in the plan at all. So,
but that's a good thing too. You need like room for figuring things out.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, it's like the little steps along the way. I'm not trying to take on too much. I'm just, slowly going the way I think I need to do it, which is nice.
Yeah. No, I think that's how you have to do it. I think that's one of the hardest lessons we all learn is just listening to yourself.
Yeah, right. Yep, listening to your gut. It's like, I know that I couldn't have just jumped from basement to storefront. I would have had no idea, and I would have failed because I don't know what I'm doing. So, yeah.
None of us know what we're doing.
We're all faking it till we make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you find that like your clientele and what they're looking for are a little bit different, or the messaging you put out is different here and in Edina, or is it similar enough?
It's similar. Okay. With the cities being so, saturated with a lash market, like people know what they want. They know the look they want, where Rochester's a little like, I've never even heard of this before, or they've seen it, on people often, but in the cities, it's like almost everybody has it done. So it's just a norm. But down here, it's like, oh, do you have eyelashes? And people ask. And so it's different. I feel like people aren't as educated down here as they are in the cities, but that's kind of the fun part about it, is like teaching them about it, teaching them the different styles and everything. So I'd say just like the education wise and just like knowing what it even is to begin with.
Yeah, I guess that's probably not surprising.
Yeah, definitely.
But so I'm always curious of how people find the location for their business. So how did you land on this space? Were you looking, or it just kind of it seemed like a good opportunity?
Yeah, so I have an employee. Her name's Taya. She's like my assistant, my right-hand man. So she came and got her lashes done by me in Edina. She wanted to try it out. She'd been going somewhere else in Edina, and she was talking, and she was like, yeah, Rochester doesn't really have a place. And I was like, yeah, I know, it's always been my dream to open something up, down there. And she's like, you really should. And I'm like, I should, but I don't have anybody, like, who's going to work there? I can't be in two spots at one, and I want to stay in the cities. She's like, well, I'm a licensed esthetician. Could I do it? And I'm like, well, yeah, if you want. And it was kind of just like thrown out there. And so, she was like, I'm serious. I think I'd be great at it. And like, I knew of her, I didn't know her super well, but, she got home, started looking at spots, sent me like 5, and it was like, oh, these are okay, whatever. And then she was kind of like the person looking for me, because I'm up in the cities and I don't have time to just come down and look. So she started looking, found the spot that we have now on Broadway, and she was like, I love it. And I always said I want a brick wall. Like, I think a brick wall would be so cool. And so she's like, it has a brick wall. And I was like, all right. So that was like 2 weeks after I met her. I came down and we worked with Bucky Beeman, who's great. He's amazing down here. And he was super, super helpful. So he showed me around. I was like, yep, that's it. I want it. And he was like, you want to look at anything else? I was like, nope, this is perfect.
Well, you know.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
There's a lot of foot traffic there.
There really is. And it was just one of those things that was like, this is too good to be true. Like, I just have to trust my gut on this one. And it's been amazing.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really valuable thing. It's just trusting your gut and like knowing when it's saying something is bad and when something's good.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Knowing the difference.
Yeah. So it's funny. So that space used to be the precursor to, this co-working space,
yes.
The precursor was over there.
Gotcha. And then it turned into Yoga Tribe and now it's Swoon. So it's amazing. That's so cool.
It's had many lives.
It has.
All supporting new businesses.
And there's so much history in there too.
Yeah.
You know, talking with the owners who live above there, like they know so much about the spot and like preserving it and keeping like its, you know, charm to it, which is really cool. And I really like that about them.
Yeah, there really aren't that many brick buildings in Rochester anymore besides downtown.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, so it's definitely nice to, be an old space.
Yeah.
And have that feeling.
That little, and like the cozy feel. Like I want it to feel like a lounge. And I think that brick wall really just kind of ties everything together.
Yeah. So, you know, I think entrepreneurship, like it's challenging, like we were talking about, and you have to be really wanting to do it. So what's your passion for bringing this service, for running this type of business in 2 locations? It kind of just started as like something I was doing for fun up in the cities and like kind of just like a side gig. I mean, I don't have a business degree. I have an associate's degree that's just in liberal arts. So I don't have the necessary education typically that most people would think like, okay, you need a business degree, you need a master's to start a business, right? Most of us do not.
Right? But like that's just kind of what society I think tells you. So I just, I kind of started as like, this is just some side thing. And then when I moved into the suite, it was like, people were like, oh yeah, so like you run a business. And I'm like, I mean, like kind of. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a business. And then once I got busier and, I created like a brand, it was like, it just like made sense. And then knowing Rochester and loving Rochester and bringing something to the place that built me was like my ultimate goal. And that's ultimately what I wanted. And I'm good with these 2 locations. It's like, I don't want to go anything else.
More.
I'm like, I love the cities. I love Rochester. We're good.
You never know.
You never know. I'll say that now.
No, I think that's incredible success to do that much in a year and a half.
Right,
so I give you a lot of credit. And for, and the thing is, like, no one, like, there are, I don't know, in my opinion, and people who I talk to, almost nobody has an actual business degree.
Right. I think it's so much about, like, the hustle and the work you put into it that, it's kind of, like, about the heart.
Well, there's so much you can learn from, like, like you're talking about Instagram and new stages of marketing. Like, who's going to teach you that in business school? Nobody.
Exactly, yeah. You got to stay up to date on the latest stuff, and that's important.
Yeah, between podcasts and, just stuff out there. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to it, but get the social media examiner email every week.
Okay.
And it's just, I don't know, it's really useful. Like it has like little Instagram tips and Facebook tips.
Right. Because that's ultimately free advertising for everybody,
absolutely.
Which is the best. Yeah, exactly. If you target the audience well.
Yeah, especially for very visual businesses,
exactly.
It's like a slam dunk. Why not do it?
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess along those lines of kind of learning as you're growing this, as all of us are, kind of what's your team like who's been helping you build this and bring this forward and supporting you?
Right. So my entire family's from Rochester. And so when I, started this, I have a little brother and a little sister. My little sister is going to go to school to be an architect. She loves interior design. So she was like kind of like my go-to for all the design process. So it really was like a family thing. And so we repainted the walls, we changed out the lights, built the desk, and my dad, he does construction around here in Rochester. So he's self-employed. So he did all that for me. And then my mom, helped with painting. My sister helped with painting. My brother helped. So it really was like a family thing, which I love. And that's kind of like why I love it so much is like my whole family came together for me and did this. And then my employee, Taya, she's been incredible. I mean, she's done more than I could have asked for and helped with, opening, and I couldn't have done it without her. So, it really was like my family and Taya that just were a huge, huge help.
Yeah, team is so important.
It is.
And family helps so much.
Yeah, like thank goodness.
Free labor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they live here, so it's like, all right, I'm coming down, I'm staying for the night.
Yeah.
And they just put so much work into it, my dad especially. So it's been really great.
Yeah, no, it definitely helps. And, it's so important to have that support, because otherwise it's, I don't know, it's just very lonely.
It is, yeah, yeah. So it was really fun. Like I look around, I'm like, oh my gosh, my dad painted these. My sister set this up. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's always a little piece of them too. Then.
It is, yeah, it is for sure.
So in the year and a half between running both of your spaces, what's been one of your favorite parts of doing this so far?
You know, it honestly, the best part of my job is meeting the people. Like, I mean, I meet probably like 4 to 5 new people a week, you know, and it's not like you're just meeting them saying hi, you know, you're laying down for an hour and a half. It's just me and you. And I like love getting to learn about people. I love meeting them. Like just the other day I had someone that was from Honduras and I was like, cool. I mean, I've never met anybody from there. So it's like, I'm just learning all about our culture, and it really is about the people for me. And I think that's such a big part of it and why I've been successful is creating like the relationship with the client too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very individualized and personalized interaction.
Yeah, and I want to feel like their friend. And, you know, that's something I think is different but from me in the beauty world. I mean, I didn't go to, like, beauty school where a lot of people I know, you know, in this world did. And they're like, okay, you know, you need to create a boundary with your clients. Like, they can't call you, you know, on the weekends. They can't text you. And I'm like, well, you know, I want to be different than that. I want them to feel like they can, you know, trust me with their life advice, or you know, they can text me on the weekend and be like, hey, I can't come in on Thursday. Where like normally that would be like unacceptable for texting your hairstylist at whatever salon. But like, I really want it to be like, you know what? I want you to feel like you can trust me. And you know, it's burned me a few times where I'm like, oh my gosh, don't text me at 4 a.m.
Right.
You know, but it ultimately, like, that's what I want out of it. I want everybody to know. And like, same with Taya and her clients, like she, you know, wants to know them. They want to know her. They love her. And that's huge for me.
Yeah, no, I think personal one-on-one connections are so important in business, just in general, you know, no matter what you're doing. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, again, I think it's all, you know, what's most comfortable for you and, you know, what foot you want to put forward.
Right. And I have people who, you know, don't want to talk. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll shut up now. So you take a nap. Yeah. So it's like learning the boundaries. But like at the end of the day, like, you know, 3 weeks from now, they'll be like, oh, so how is this? And I'm like, oh, you're talking to me. This is cool. So, you know, sometimes it takes a while. But, you know, eventually it's like I want a relationship with everybody that walks in my doors.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the flip side of that, what have you found to be some of the most challenging aspects of doing this?
You know, there's a lot of little things that go into like beauty salons and in licensing. So it's just a lot of research. I mean, I didn't go to the school, so I don't know, you know, the little laws here and there. So it's just looking into, you know, the specific laws and the specific requirements and employee requirements. And so it's all just like a learning process where I feel like you kind of have to just cross off, you know, your boxes and figure it out. But a lot of it's just the little nitty gritty stuff that it's like, nobody can teach you that. You just kind of have to figure it out on your own and figure it out along the way.
Yeah, the really fun minutia, right?
Yep.
I don't feel like anybody likes that stuff.
No. I don't want to set up Wi-Fi or whatever. Right. I didn't want to do this. I just wanted to come with that. But
right, and like the regulations and stuff.
Yeah,
sure
definitely.
Beauty has a ton.
Yeah, definitely.
Which would be, not fun. You don't want to work like on this stuff. You want to work like in it.
Yeah. But it's like good to know the background, you know, like sanitary wise and all that. But it's just like there's so many things. It's like, okay, I need to make sure I do this, and then I need to make sure I do this, and then because of those two things, I need to do this. So it's just figuring out the steps and learning them.
Yeah. But now you're so much further along then. There's so much more. Think of how much you know now.
Oh my gosh, right? I'm like, I should just teach a course about this. I'll just walk you through every little step.
It's another revenue stream.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so I guess kind of along those lines, you know, what have you kind of been learning about yourself as an entrepreneur over the past year and a half that, you know, has helped you succeed? So
the reason, like, I kind of wanted to do something different. So I got a 2-year associate's degree. I didn't really know what my whole plan was. And I was at my cabin talking to a guy that he doesn't have a cabin there, but he was just like a friend of a friend. And, you know, he was talking to me and he's like, you know, what's your plan? I'm like, you know, I have a 2-year degree. I'm not really sure, you know, what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of try to figure it out. And he goes, well, you'll never make something of yourself without a bachelor's degree. And I, in that moment, was so determined to prove him wrong. Like, I don't even know this guy, but I am going to prove him wrong and make something of myself. And I think that, like, lit a fire in me. And I was like, you know, I didn't even know I wanted to do lashes at the time, but I knew I was like going to prove people wrong and show people that they don't have I mean, if you want to get a bachelor's degree, that's great. That's amazing. But that's not the route I took. And you can still be successful without, spending all the money on a bachelor's degree. Yeah. So that's kind of like what started it in me. And, I wasn't good at school. I mean, I just barely kind of passed by in high school and college, and school was just never my strong suit, but I always had like the heart and the dedication. Like I was on the Mayo hockey team and I was terrible, but I had the heart for it. And I always wanted to work hard because I was so determined to like be a part of this team. And even though I knew I was very below average at the sport, I just like, I had the heart for it. And when I like know I want to do something, I like go all in. And I think that's kind of like the entrepreneurial, mindset is like, all right, you know what, you're going to figure it out and you're going to find out, how to do it along the way.
Yeah. So you basically work your ass off.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. You know, 14-hour days, it'll get you there.
But no, I completely agree with you, as far as like higher education goes.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not for everyone. It certainly doesn't always get you to like where you think something's at the end of it.
Right. And I think another thing too is like, it doesn't define you.
No.
And, a lot of people I know like didn't take that route. And I think a lot of people feel like they have to in order to, succeed. They're like, okay, you graduate high school, you get a 4-year degree in this, and then what? And then now you don't like your job that, you sit at a desk 9 to 5. Like some people absolutely love that and that's amazing, but, it's not for everybody. Some people do the art route or, I just think there's so many different opportunities nowadays, especially with social media and, all of the, I don't know, like Instagram and whatever, but I don't know. I just think there's a different path for everybody. And
no, absolutely.
Really
and
cool.
I think, people's mindsets are being challenged.
Yeah.
Of, the traditional
definitely
path.
Yeah.
And realizing that that's not, first of all, for everybody, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
For everybody.
For everybody. Yeah. Yeah. Works for a lot of people. And I get that there's certain careers that, you do have to have that 4-year degree to be, a nurse and a registered nurse. And so, in that part, I get it. But if you don't really know what you're doing, like I'm a huge proponent, like take some time and figure it out. Like this is the rest of your life. And if you don't love what you're doing, you're going to be miserable. And you better love what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Or else, you're stuck doing something you hate for who knows how long and then got to backpedal.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that too, but it's just like figuring it out. I don't know. I think at, 18 years old, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to decide on a different school and move away and what I want to do forever. And it's not that easy. Yeah.
It is not that easy.
No.
It's not even that easy when you're at the other end of it.
Exactly. It's still not easy. I don't know. I mean, sometimes people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. I just figure it out.
Yep, exactly. That's that's the only thing we have at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is figuring out what the next step is.
Yep.
So I'll wrap up by asking you, what are the next steps for Swoon, and where can people find you online or in person?
So we're right on the corner of Broadway. It's 328 South Broadway. You can find us online at swoonbeautylounge.com. All of our information, you can call us, you can text us, any questions you have, but everything's online for booking appointments. But as far as, and that's for Rochester, Edina's a different story. But as far as the next steps, like I'm really, really happy where I'm at with Rochester. I want to grow our team and, maybe add a few services. I don't want it to be too much, but my next step is to go back up to Edina and find a space that's similar to the Rochester space and kind of expand up there, have the two and run those two. So I think it'll be great.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you've tested it here.
I've tested it, and I can do it.
Both at the same, at the same time.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for doing this today. I appreciate your time and
thank you.
And crossing the street.
Yeah, right? Just right across the street.
Coming over to say hi, but thanks so much for being here.
Thanks.
All right, thanks to Kayla for sitting down and sharing her story with us today. You can find Swoon Lash and Beauty Lounge at 328 South Broadway, so stop in and say hello. If you enjoyed this story, you can find more stories of Rochester entrepreneurs and innovation on our website at rochesterrising.org. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, so you can find us there as well. We're always looking for stories of amazing Rochester-based entrepreneurs, great guests to have on our podcast. So if you know of an entrepreneur that has a story that needs to be told, send us an email at rochesterrising@gmail.com and let us know why they should be a guest on the show. That's a wrap for the podcast today. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe to our channel on Apple Music or wherever you consume your podcast content so that you never miss a story of innovation and entrepreneurship coming out of Rochester, Minnesota. We'll be back again next week with a brand new episode.